I do have a little book haul for you guys. This is the worst book slump that I have honestly ever been in. And I was like, is this gonna catch on fire? Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the first official vlog of the summer. I am jumping for joy right now. Well, not on the outside, on the inside, because you can currently see me. Just like pretty much everyone else, I love summer. I love it being warm outside. Specifically, I love summer nights. It is so beautiful out. I love watching the sunset. I love being outside, eating fruit that actually tastes good. And one of my favorite things about summer is obviously summer reading. And we'll get into reading updates here in a minute. But the first thing that we're going to do in this video is put away all these lovely books that I have read recently back here on this shelf. Also, if you can see dust, no you don't. I'm pretty sure this was one of the first pieces of furniture I ever bought with my own money. I think it was like 17, 16, I don't know. But it helped me learn very quickly that black furniture always gotta be dusted. And it's always gonna be dusty, even if you keep up with dusting it. So you gotta love that. It is a pretty cute shelf though, and I do like the way I decorated it. Anyways, let's get back on track. On this shelf is where I've been putting my books recently whenever I finish them, just so that they're all in one place. And when it is time for my monthly wrap-ups, I can just grab these and talk about them. And currently on here, I still have the books that I read in April, and then I also have the books that I've read in May, and it's filling up. So that means it's time to go put the books on my bookshelves, and that's what we're gonna do right now. Welcome back to my lovely bookshelves. As I'm looking at all the books that I've read recently, I have them on the floor in front of me, and thinking about where they're gonna go, I think we might be running into a slight problem. And that is that the current organization situation going on behind me might not work out the more books that I have to add. Specifically, this shelf right here, I'm a little bit worried about. I can always turn in the grade alone, but I would also like the space to be able to display some of my favorite books, so I don't know. We'll just have to figure this out as we go. I'm gonna start with Heartstoppers Volume 1 and 2 because I recently reread these and they already have a spot up here next to my special edition Volume 1 of Heartstopper. So these are an easy peasy place to start, which is nice. Already on the third book and I'm starting to question things. Turtles All the Way Down by John Green wasn't my favorite. I might end up unhauling this eventually, but I feel like for now I do want to keep it and see how I feel about it. The OCD rep in here is really good, but I feel like I didn't love the rest of the storyline personally. This is YA, but I don't have a lot of other YA books that aren't rom-com-y or aren't fantasy, so I honestly don't really know where to put this. I might just put it up here because this is kind of acting as my YA shelf as of right now. I don't think I have any YA down here. The Summer I Turned Pretty is YA, and this is on like my summer reads / Allie Hazelwood shelf, and so is Check and Mate, but that's with like authors. I don't know. I almost feel like it fits on this shelf the best, but the problem is I got like 4 or 5 books to add to this shelf, and I don't know if those are gonna fit. I think we're gonna come back to this one and see how much room is on here in a minute, and let's just go ahead and tackle that right now because I'm already talking about it too much. Out of all the books that I've read recently that I think should go on the shelf, Kristen Hanna's The Women definitely has to because all of her other books are sitting right there, so that just makes a lot of sense to me. So let's put that one up first. Unfortunately, I'm probably not going to be able to display the grade alone anymore, but it's okay. I guess I will just cry about it later after I'm done filming this video. I'm thinking we push all of my Kristen Hanna back so this is not separating a bunch of paperbacks at the moment. I definitely have a lot more room right here than I thought I was going to, if I'm being honest, with not displaying the grade alone and putting the women up there, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit all of these. I Cheerfully Refuse by Leif Enger. I didn't absolutely love this book, but I did appreciate the story he was trying to tell, and also Luke chose this book for me to read whenever we went to the bookstore a few months ago, and he seemed interested in reading as well, so I feel like I should at least keep it until he reads it eventually. I feel like this one kind of has to go up there. Wait, guys, I actually might be able to fit this in the way that I was thinking originally. We have Yesteryear by Carol Claire Burke. I'm gonna put that up there too. I actually really enjoyed the commentary on religion, motherhood, and conservatism that was in this book. I thought that it was very well done, but it was definitely a character study. I feel like there wasn't a ton of plot or storyline, and the ending was kind of all over the place, but I enjoyed the conversation that Carol Claire Burke was bringing to the table, and it makes me excited to read more books like that in the future because I feel like it was very different from a lot of the other general fiction books that I've ever read. It looks like The Correspondent by Virginia Evans is also gonna fit. I absolutely loved this book. I talked about it in my May wrap up, and it will be in a reading vlog coming soon. It's gonna be in a TBR tournament video. I don't know if that's up before this video. I was kind of hoping to display this, but it fits so perfectly right here for now that I think that we're just gonna have to leave it. I'm also gonna bring all these books forward so they're all in line, but it seems like this shelf is pretty dang full as of right now, unfortunately. This shelf currently holds all of my literary and historical fiction, which is a genre that, as you can see, I have been enjoying a lot of recently. I feel like this shelf has been growing more than any other shelf that I have on my bookshelves. And I was honestly kind of dreading this, but I think that means that it might be time to redo my bookshelves soon, because a lot of these other shelves don't have as many books on them. Like, they still do have quite a few books, but there's mainly room to grow for those genres and decor, and I feel like I'm gonna need to spread these bad boys out and make room for more books that I'm gonna read in the future. The other book that I was hoping was gonna fit onto this shelf was Into the Blue by Emma Brody, but I honestly think she might fit nicely up here, at least for now, until I eventually get the courage to redo my bookshelves. I don't know why I'm acting like it's such a chore. It's actually so fun to redo my bookshelves, but I do feel like sometimes I get a little bit stressed out because I got a lot of books and it's a lot of organizing, but it's also really fun. So there's absolutely no need for me to be complaining about that. That's for sure. I'm just gonna put this right here with my Emily Henry, Ashley Poston, Sangamon Donna, and Sophie Cousins books. I feel like these are all on a shelf right now together because these are some of my favorite romances, so it just kind of made a lot of sense. But I think that when I redo my bookshelves, I might separate them. Like, these are all either magical realism or have a lot of magical elements, and I feel like Emily Henry just doesn't really fit into that realm, so I don't know. We'll see. Now I'm getting excited about redoing my bookshelves, guys. 2 more books to add over here. Very easy because I already have books by these authors on my shelves, and there's room to put them. First up, Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young is gonna go on this shelf right here with my other Hannah Bonham Young books. I think I'll put it on the left of Out on a Limb, so it's not next to Out of the Woods, because I feel like those colors wouldn't look the best together. Separating the blue and the greeny blue is kind of nice. And then I also have The X-Files by Jessica Joyce, and I have her other book, You with a View, down here. So it is gonna go right into there, and honestly, that looks pretty good. Me realizing that you couldn't really see that clip, so that's fun. Anyways, now that I got the angle moved for you, here is The X-Files in all her glory. Guess who's running into more problems on this shelf than she thought she was going to? This girl. The only 2 books that I have to put over here are Oathbound by Tracy Deonn and Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and I was hoping, at least in my mind when I was picturing where they were going, I was gonna put them on this shelf right here. This is where a lot of my favorite fantasy books are, but unfortunately in my mind, I was not remembering correctly that this shelf is basically full now. So the real question is, what am I gonna do about that? I still want my Legendborn series to be right here. So I think for now, just to make room, I'm gonna take An Ember in the Ashes and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue off, just so Miss Oathbound can fit. And honestly, I think I might be able to fit Project Hail Mary here. I definitely can. Also, just now realized that these are out of order. Love that. Couldn't even tell you how long these have been out of order. Anyways, okay, lovely. That is now fixed. Also realizing that these are in the wrong order too. I don't know why I did that. Probably because I only have 1 hardback, so I wanted it to be on the end, but it's changing now. Because it honestly doesn't make sense for all of the other series to be going left to right and this one to go right to left. It's kind of weird, Katie. I don't know why I did that. In my mind, I just want to put these horizontal on top of these, but I don't think that's gonna work. If I'm being 100% honest with you, I don't absolutely love what I'm about to do with these, but I feel like it must be done at this moment in time. This shelf currently holds my YA, fantasy, and sci-fi, and I know that Addie LaRue is not YA, but it is what it is. And Ember in the Ashes is YA though, so that does make sense. Unfortunately, I think we're just gonna have to go along with this and vibe with it for now until, let's say it together, I actually redo my bookshelves. As for now, with Turtles All the Way Down, I think I'm just gonna put it on my Heartstopper and Lynn Painter shelf because that's where most of my YA books are. So that just makes the most sense to me. I'm currently at my local library and there are 2 things I gotta do here that are on my agenda today. Number 1, I need to pick up a book that I put on hold quite a while ago and I've been waiting for it for a minute, but it was a new release in April, so it just took a second for me to get my turn to read it, and that is a-okay. And that book is the 4th graphic novel in the Lightfall graphic novel series by Tim Probert that I've been talking about a little bit recently. So since I've been waiting on that for a bit, I'm excited to go pick that up and see what I think of the 4th one. I'm gonna have to go back to the 3rd one and read a little bit of the again to refresh my memory, but the other thing I have to do today is I need to go pick up some printed pages. I like to print at the library because, one, I like to support my local library, obviously, but also it's really inexpensive. It's 50 cents per colored page, and I feel like it's really good quality. The colors are very bright and vivid, and the images are normally pretty crisp. I print like 5 pages or so. I also don't have a printer at home. I used to use Luke's printer at his work only for printing out book covers, and the color quality of their printer wasn't great, even though it was free, so that was nice, obviously. And I also did my reading journal a little bit differently back then. I feel like I do it more scrapbooky now, which I'm really enjoying. And I do have an HP Sprocket, but I mainly just use that for book covers. I haven't printed anything else on that yet, but it does have a sticky back, so I could print some scrapbook elements here and there. I might someday, who knows? But at this moment in time, I'm using the library's printer and I really enjoy it. So we need to go do those things. We might do some perusing in there too. I probably won't grab any books today just because I feel like there are already so many books on my radar that I really want to read soon. And I feel like when I add more books to the list, it kind of overwhelms me a little bit, and I don't want to overwhelm myself if I don't have to. So let's go ahead and pop on into the library. Don't mind my little friend right here to the left. He fell down while I was reorganizing my bookshelves yesterday, and I can't reach up there, and I just haven't asked Luke to put him back up. I don't know, he kind of is cute right there. Maybe I'll keep him there. Anyways, yesterday, as you guys saw, I went to go pick up my library hold and my reading journal printouts. It has been an interesting past few days, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. And I'm not trying to talk about this stuff too long because I'm trying to have a good mindset about everything happening right now. But at the moment, it's just kind of been one thing after another, and it's just been a lot. First of all, my phone charger broke off into my phone's charging port, so I could only use that phone charger, why did I say it like that? I could only use that phone charger for a while, and it was starting to get finicky and not charge sometimes unless it was bent a certain way. But now it's to the point where it's not charging at all, so I need to go get that fixed. So right now I don't have a phone. It's really not that big of a deal because I have my computer and my iPod that I can communicate with people on. But it also does feel weird leaving the house without a phone just for safety reasons, and I can't take my iPad or my computer out because I'm gonna need Wi-Fi to actually communicate with people if something were to happen. You get the gist. So I had to be able to open my email in order to print the things that I needed to print. And whenever I got out of the car, I looked at my phone to try and pull up the code just to be prepared, you know, and my phone just decides to die in that moment at 20%. I was like, okay, here we go. You know what? They've got computers. I'm going to be able to figure it out, right? Kind of, but also wrong. I go to the computer and try and sign into my email, right? Tell me why Google's verification steps are to either log onto another device that is logged in, which I didn't have any with me, so make that make sense. And then the other one is to email your recovery email and make it make sense. If I can't get into that email, how am I supposed to get into the other email? And then it also said that you can try answering questions, but every time I kept refreshing to try a new way to verify my email, questions never showed up, so that was fun. But out of nowhere, my phone decides to turn on. It's got 3% left, and I'm able to verify. I get the code, I print things out. Obviously, printing does cost money, and it ended up printing out a blank sheet of paper, so that was fine. Not that big of a deal. It was 50 cents, so like I don't really care that much. So I had all of this going on yesterday. Today, I'm walking on my walking pad. I walk on it almost every single day, especially while I edit. It's just a really nice, mindless way to get in some physical activity instead of sitting while I'm editing, especially because being on your computer is a very sedentary activity in and of itself. So adding some physical activity is nice sometimes, and I tend to do it a lot. And I've had my walking pad, I can't remember if I got it in 2024 or 2025, but I've had it for a bit now. I've really loved it, and today, it just started sparking. And I was like, is this gonna catch on fire? So I immediately got off, I unplugged it, and now I'm either gonna have to go without one or buy a new one, and those are not cheap, so that was also not very fun. And then also, just to top it all off, I spilt the same can of Diet Coke twice today on the floor while I was doing an ab workout. So yeah, I ended up taking a shower just to kind of, you know, cleanse and hopefully get all that bad juju out of my system. Something fun and exciting though to offset the bad juju is that I do have a little book haul for you guys, starting off with the graphic novel that I got at the library yesterday. I already talked about it then, but it is the fourth Lightfall graphic novel by Tim Probert. It's called A Place Between. I didn't know this, but I think graphic novels originally print in paperback and then eventually get a hardback edition, because I have only ever read these in hardback from the library. So I think it's kind of weird that this came out in April and it came out in paperback. It's like the complete opposite of the hardback to paperback trajectory of a lot of other new releases. So I thought that was interesting. I want to read this soon. I don't know when. And I think I'm going to be reading a lot of graphic novels this month actually, because I do have plans to finish Heartstopper before the 6th volume comes out July 2nd. So I think I'll be reading 4 this month, which not mad about it, especially because I've honestly been feeling quite slumpy, which we'll talk about sometime in this video. I also ended up buying the 7th and 8th volumes of the Emma M. Lyon series by Beth Brower, because these are getting traditionally published, and I don't know exactly what's going on with them. I don't know if they're going to keep these covers, but I do have the rest of the series in these covers so far, and I have been bitten in the butt in the past where they changed the covers mid-series, and they are still publishing this series. There's going to be a volume 9 coming out sometime soon, which I'm ecstatic for, but I really, really like these covers, and I hope that they keep up with them. And again, I already have some of the series, so I just wanted these ones to match. If you've been watching my channel for the past year or so, you would know I've been loving the M.M. Lyon series. I've been loving it so much that, yes, I did start the 7th one a bit ago, but I haven't touched it in a while because I am just putting off finishing it. I love historical fiction, and I love the way these make me feel. They're so witty and funny and charming. It's set in the Victorian era in London, and we're just following our main character, Emma, through her journals and the outlandish things she gets up to. It is just so fun. And Emma has this sense of whimsy that I aspire to have as well, and I just love this series so much, and I don't want it to end. And I am very excited to add these copies to my library eventually whenever I finish the series. I've also never read any of these physically, and I feel like I might want to read these next two physically. I feel like I've been enjoying reading physical books more than my Kindle recently, which is kind of weird because I feel like normally I enjoy reading on my Kindle more. These were on Kindle Unlimited, and that's how I originally read the series, but now that I own these copies, I can just read them physically, or you know what, if I want to read them on my Kindle here and there, I can do as I please. Lastly, we have the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. This is actually the UK edition. I bought these, but I bought them a long time ago. Actually, they were a gift for my brother-in-law, and I feel like I've mentioned a few times that we've been wanting to buddy read this series together, and I personally thought these editions were really, really cool when I bought them for him, and we were talking about what editions I'm going to buy for myself because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to order from the UK anymore or not with everything going on, or if it was just going to be too expensive. And we were talking, and he was saying, you know what, I do like these covers, but if you want these really, really bad and they're not as easy to get, I'll just go ahead and get myself the US Mistborn editions. He doesn't mind. He actually thought those covers were pretty cool. And I was like, no, these were a gift originally, so I'm gonna buy those for you. So I bought those editions for him, and he gave me these that I bought for him a while ago. This is a series that I've been putting off reading for quite some time now, but I feel like it's because I didn't own them physically. And now that I do, I feel like I'm gonna be way more likely to start it. I'm also really excited to have the UK edition specifically because, in my opinion, they just look so much more beautiful and cleaner. I read the Skyward series by him a while ago, and I feel like this is a theme with Brandon Sanderson's US versus his UK editions. These are the Skyward editions, US over here and UK over here. Tell me which one you like better, and I'm gonna assume it's the UK. These just look so clean and stunning. This is the first one, Mistborn. This is the second one, A Well of Ascension, and then the third one, The Hero of Ages. I cannot wait to read these and have them up on my bookshelves. They are absolutely stunning. I just woke up, did my skincare, made myself some tea, and I told you guys in the last clip that we would talk about my book slump, so that's exactly what we're going to be doing. I feel like this is the worst book slump that I have honestly ever been in. This all started last month. I had an amazing reading month in the month of May, and I read Oathbound by Tracy Deonn, the third book in the Legendborn cycle. Oh my gosh, that was so good. It was reigniting my love for fantasy again, and I just haven't felt that way about a fantasy book in so long. I absolutely loved it. 5 stars without a doubt. And then it felt like every book after that just didn't compare. It wasn't like I was reading fantasy. I was reading stuff that was quite different, but they were just kind of letdowns in comparison to how I felt about Oathbound. And so I took a few days off of reading just to give myself a break, and then I felt fine. I was reading some good books, some like 4-star reads. I was enjoying them, connecting to the characters, and then I got hit with another whammy, which was The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. I hope that you guys are ready for me to never shut up about this book because wow, it was so absolutely incredible. I genuinely think The Correspondent is going to end up being my favorite book of the year, which I know is kind of shocking to say because we're just now getting to the halfway point of the year, but I will be shocked if another book surpasses it, and also happy, obviously, because who wouldn't want another favorite book or a book that just completely surprises you and you absolutely love? The Correspondent was just everything I was looking for in a book, not just at that time, but in general. It was fast-paced because it was written in all letter format. It was so unbelievably easy to connect with the characters. It was all about the human experience and human interaction and how we care for each other, and it made me want to start writing letters. And ever since I read that book, every book that I've picked up just has missed the mark. And I always feel bad for the book after a 5-star read because I feel like since I just came from a book that I really enjoyed, my expectations for this next book are pretty high, and unfortunately those books just weren't up to The Correspondent standard, but that's also not fair to those books and also not fair to myself because it's not like I'm never gonna read a book again. So there's that problem, but there's also the problem that I don't want to read. I feel like when a book slump is caused by a 5-star read, it's almost like, all right, like I've read the best book ever. Time to pack it up. I'm done reading. Like that's how it feels almost, even though that's so silly because there's so many other books that I'm going to enjoy in my lifetime and I can't wait to read those. But at this moment in time, I feel like taking a break is probably just the best course of action for me. So that's what I've been doing for the past few days. I'm probably going to continue taking a break, and I'm just going to reiterate this. This is the worst book slump that I've ever had because I haven't wanted to read. Like even audiobooks I'm taking a break from, even though I love a good audiobook, but they just haven't been clicking with my brain for some reason. Like I can't sit down and focus on them and I just zone out and I just don't care. And honestly, if this continues, I might make a reading vlog surrounding my book slump and trying to get out of it, trying all these tips and tricks and just seeing what I can do that's going to help me fall in love with reading again. But I also feel like it's perfectly fine to take a break from reading, whether that be a few days, a week, a month, whatever. If that's what it takes for me to fall back in love with reading again, that's what it takes. Honestly, if I just have to reread The Correspondent or any of my other 5-star reads during this time, that's what I'm gonna do. I honestly think the best thing for me to focus on during this time is watching booktube because I feel like that always inspires me to read whenever people are super... That's thunder. I feel like whenever people are very passionate in the way that they talk about books, that makes me really excited, not just to read the book that they're talking about, but to read in general because I want that feeling again. And also just doing little bookish activities. Like we're going to do my reading journal sometime in this video. I think that just doing reading adjacent things, even if I just go to the bookstore and peruse around, or when I'm going to have to eventually redo my bookshelves, I feel like those things will make me, or at least overall help me try and get out of this book slump. Hopefully. I feel like book slumps are something that we all go through. They're completely normal, even though they do absolutely suck. So if you're also in a book slump right now, I'm right there with you. And hopefully we can get out of this together. It is reading journal time and we're just gonna jump straight on into it. I'm not gonna lie, I am a little bit behind. I feel like I'm normally running behind, but I wanna start being a little bit more on top of things from here on out. But today, in order to catch up, we do have quite a bit of things to do, starting with my reading goal page. Let me check my Goodreads where I'm at right now. But the last time I filled it out, I was at 24 books and I am now at 39, it looks like. And I am 6 books behind on my reading goal. We're just not gonna pay attention to that right now, especially because I am in a book slump. And I think that hyperfixating on that is probably not a good idea. Looks like this one right here is the 39th square. So I'm gonna fill this one in first, just so I don't go overboard because I have done that in the past. Filling out my last square on this page, I'm always reminded how therapeutic doing this part of my reading journal is. Looks like we do have a little bit of smearage going on right here, and I honestly think I'm gonna take my Pigma Micron pen. By the way, if you're ever curious about the supplies I do or how I set everything up, I do have a reading journal setup video that I will link down below for you guys. But in order to cover these up, I'm just gonna put like a few stars here and there because who the heck cares? It like adds something to the page, and as you can see, I've also done it in other places as well. I should have known better than to color this way, but you know what? We live and I guess we learn again. Okay, moving on to my monthly tracker. We're gonna be updating for April and May today. It looks like in April I read 7 books, which has been about my average so far this year per month. But then in May, I ended up reading 10 books. So that has been been my best reading month so far this year. I guess we'll have to wait and see how many books I end up reading in June due to the book slump. Now for my genre tracker, it looks like in April I read 1 sci-fi, 1 graphic novel, 1 historical fiction. It says I read 1 young adult book, but I don't have that on here, and it was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green, so I'm just gonna say I read 2 literary fictions because I feel like it fits the best into that category. And then I also read 2 romances in April. In May, it looks like I read 1 mystery, 1 memoir, 2 graphic novels, 3 literary fiction books, 1 fantasy, and finally 2 romances. I'll be honest, I don't love the way I did this page because I feel like I don't know how much of each genre I read per month, and I feel like last year I did that pretty well. Let me see if I can find it. This is how it looked last year. I don't love this page that I did last year. I feel like my reading journal just in general has come a long way. It's very much a learning process, and this is my 3rd year doing it, and it's definitely my favorite reading journal I've ever done so far this year, but I think that next year I do want to continue with specific colors for each month because I feel like that just makes more sense. I do like all the purple, but I want this to be more colorful as well as this page. Anyways, we're gonna move on to my physical TBR. If you don't know, a big goal for me is to try and read down my entire physical TBR that I've owned before this year. Either I'm gonna read it or I'm gonna get rid of it. Because if I've owned it for that long, it kind of just feels like a lost cause at that point, and I don't want those books to just stay on my cart and stress me out. Let's go ahead and update this though. We can cross off the women, next of kin, and the correspondent. So incredibly good, never gonna shut up about it. What else do we have? We've got Oathbound. I read the X-Files. And that is it for all the books prior to this year. I ended up reading I Cheerfully Refuse, and I definitely have some new books to add to the list. I need to fill in into The Blue as well as Yesteryear. I did already read those for a video. And then we also have the books that I hold in this video. We have the first era of Mistborn. I'm gonna be so honest, I forget the names to the series. Well Love, Ascension, and Hero of Ages. I'm taking out the just for sake of space. And then we also have Emma M. Lion 7 and 8. That is good and updated. We have my 2026 TBR, and I think the only book that I get to color in this time is When the Crow's Away by Orly Wallace. I think I'm gonna make it purple and orange because the cover of this one is like purple, orange, and black. There is quite a bit of green too. I don't know. We'll see what colors I end up adding. Unfortunately, it was kind of a letdown, especially compared to the other one, When the Crow's Away. I talk way more about it in my wrap-up video I just posted, but yeah, I did not end up loving it as much as I thought I was going to. Something that I am loving though is how this page is turning out. I think it looks really good so far. Okay, moving on to the next page, my favorite page, the reading bucket list. We gotta decide what books I want to fill this out for April and May. I don't like to do too many at once because the most fun thing about this spread is filling it out throughout the year. In all honesty, I could probably fill out majority of it right now if I really wanted to with all the books that I've read, but I like to keep things a little bit more challenging and exciting. Let's see, I want to do something for the correspondent. It was definitely a sob fest. Maybe I'll do new author because she technically was a new author to me, and also, let's be completely honest, it doesn't take that much to make me cry. Okay, there we go. I also did color outside of the lines a little bit right there, but looky here. All you gotta do is put a little star and it fixes everything and it adds cuteness, so why the heck not? I just realized I meant to put it on new author, not new favorite author. It's fine. It's really not that big of a deal. I can do over a year on the TBR for the X-Files. I'm glad I finally read that one. I've been putting that one off forever. Adding a star because I colored it to the lines like a child, but it's okay. I want to do Oathbound for something, but I feel like finishing a series isn't right because I just finished what is currently out of the series. But also, I don't think that the 4th book in the series is coming out this year, so I could fill that out. I think I just am. I also need to keep reminding myself that the color that I use doesn't have to match the book at all. We're gonna use this interesting pinky purpley color. It's like a magenta. I don't know. Now that I'm looking at it, this does kind of match the cover a little bit. Why do I never use this color? It's actually so pretty. Okay. We could do new release for either yesteryear or into the blue. I think I might do yesteryear for new release though, and then do into the blue for maybe blue cover. I love how at this point, after you set up your reading journal, it is literally just a coloring book. I know into the blue is kind of like purple and blue, but the title is literally called Into the Blue, so I feel like, you know what? It works here. For red, I'm gonna do In Her Own League. I was kind of neglecting April. I don't really know why. I didn't mean to. Okay, that looks great, period. I think I'm gonna call it quits there for today. The nice thing about this is that we get to the end of the year and it's not as filled out. I can go back to other books that I read throughout the year and try to fill it out. But for now, since we're still in the beginning half of the year, well, we're almost halfway. That's terrifying. But for now, I just wanna make sure I'm being sparing so I still have more to fill out later. The only thing I have to fill out in my series tracker, I believe, is that I finished the Legendborn cycle because I haven't read anything else over here and I haven't started anything new, at least not yet. So let's cross this guy out. I was really excited because this was the first time I've ever made a Dutch door, so hopefully I'll end up getting to use it. But as of right now, we're halfway through the year and I feel like I've just mainly been focusing on finishing these series, so we'll see. All right, now it is monthly wrap-up time. Here is my January, here is my February. Today we are going to be working on March and April. I do already have everything printed out, cut out. Here are my little add-ons. I already prepped all the books that I read. I prepped my pie chart that we're gonna need to color. I printed these out of my HP Sprocket. They always look so good printed out of the HP Sprocket. I love how they're shiny and they're just so vivid and colorful. And then for the scrapbook elements, I have this Smisky. They're reading a book. I thought that was cute. We have a nice little plant. I've been wanting to add albums or just things that remind me of the month in more inconspicuous ways so it still fits with the theme for the month. And this month I did green and brown, so we have a lot of earthy tones. I picked Eternal Sunshine for my album just because I love that album and I feel like I've been listening to it a lot recently. So I picked it for March. I have a ton of these brown stars to fill in the extra space that we're gonna have. Have this little green tea and then this book. I find all this stuff on Pinterest, this cute little bow. And then this is gonna turn out like this. And I'm gonna put the books inside of it and then share a few things about them. And then this is gonna go on top of that as a little button. And then I also have Welcome to the Pit because Luke and I were obsessed with the Pit during the first quarter of the year and I believe it ended in March. So that is my nod to March. I also have this that I'm gonna tear up as well as book covers. So I think I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens. I printed these out a lot larger than previous months because I feel like there was still a little bit of awkward space. So I figured printing them out larger could help. And if they're too big, I just won't use some of them. Oh, did I just break this? Well, I definitely did now. Okay, the base is done. It looks like I got a little schmutz right there, but we'll just cover that up with something that we're gonna put on it anyways. Now we just need to work on the general layout. I really liked in January how I put something in the middle and then I separate it by the page. I think that looks really cool. So I wanna do something like that, maybe with the bow this time. I also saw Lottie do this with a bow at the beginning of the year for one of her spreads and I thought it looked really cool. And I also feel like the bow stands out a lot from the gingham. I love gingham so much. I've been having to hold back from making gingham the background of almost every single spread on here just because I love it. I think I might have too many things to put on this spread, which I guess isn't a bad thing. Like I can pick and choose. I don't know. I also have the stars and stuff too. This is just a general look, but everything's probably gonna end up changing. I think I'm just gonna rip this. I think I want to put March right up here, actually. And I'm just going to do it with these little bead looking stickers. I really like when I do this to have like as many layers on layers as possible. I feel like it just makes it look really cool. Okay, I officially finished placing everything for the month of March and I think it looks really good. I'm glad that I decided to add in brown. I was originally just gonna do light green and dark green like I had for every other month. Like I just did like blue and dark blue, red and pink, but I think that the brown just adds something extra to it that I really enjoy. I do really like the other 2 monthly spreads that I've done so far too, but as you can see, it feels like there's just a little bit of extra space left because either I didn't print out enough scrapbook elements or they just weren't big enough. And I feel like I finally found the perfect sizing of everything. At first, I was worried that not everything was gonna fit, but I think it fits perfectly. I'm really happy with the color scheme, just really happy with everything and how it turned out. And yeah, the finishing touches are always the stars. And I also wrote down here my monthly faves. Best offer wins was fast paced and funny, and atmosphere was smart and heartbreaking. And I just really love how this page turned out. I feel like every time I make a new monthly page, it's my favorite. So I'm hoping that'll be the same for April, which is what we're going to start on right now. April's background is this pretty light purple star background. Let's put her on there. As always, I'm gonna put book pages in the background as well as this crumpled up sheet of paper that's darker to add dimension. We have my favorite books and little button that'll go with that. I have this cute little moon, the new Harry Styles album that just came out because I was listening to that a lot that month, a cute little butterfly, this pretty bow. As you can tell, I love bows. We also have a little Miffy in a raincoat. I love having similar things on each monthly spread, as you guys can probably tell. So everything feels pretty cohesive even though each month has its own aesthetic. I also have these pretty tulips, Tamagotchi Life, because I was playing it a lot that month, still am. These butterflies, my pie chart. I also have this washi tape, and I had one for March too, so I might go back and add some because I thought that that would look good. And then my books that I read that month. Okay, I finished the April page. I had quite a bit more trouble with this page than I feel like any of the other ones that I've done, just because like I already said, I picked a lot of scrapbook elements that were the background's color, but I do think it turned out really good. Once I had everything down and I had put on my star stickers, which I picked silver. I do have silver and gold, but April just feels more silver to me for some reason. I feel like it goes better with purple, but I still felt like there was something missing. So I went around with my black pen and just added some tiny little stars around, and I think that made everything come together. I felt like this page was a little bit awkward at first, but now I'm really happy with it. And I think that the April and the March pages look so good. I think March is probably my favorite so far out of all the ones that I've done this year. And it just makes me even more excited to work on May and June coming up really soon. I feel like it takes a really long time for me to find what exactly I want to use and figure out the sizing and print them all out and all that stuff. But once I do it, it turns out really good and I'm really proud of it. And I've been slowly but surely sourcing stuff on Pinterest as I go instead of just waiting until I want to do my reading journal. I feel like that's been helping me a lot. Anyways, I hope you guys like the way that they turned out. I'm really proud of them. And that is all for reading journal updates today. With that being said, I think that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, it would be super awesome if you could like and subscribe. It really helps to support my channel. And if you watched until this far in the video, comment down below the butterfly emoji. I just really like that emoji and think it's really cute, and also it reminds me of my April spread with the big butterfly. So comment down below the butterfly emoji if you watched until the very end. And yeah, I hope you guys are all having an amazing day. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next video coming up real soon. Bye guys. Oh, these are hard to get off. There is somebody parked right next to me and they can see me talking to myself. Have fun. Sar.
Of course my battery dies.
I'm making a mess. Okay, and sweating. On here? Oh shit. Guys, what did I do? I love how unbelievably aesthetic this is. Peace.